Hi, everyone, and welcome to ServiceNow TechBytes, bringing you an inside look at our products. I'm your host, Steve Miller. Today, we're going to talk with Product Manager Abhi Roy about cloud cost management, which helps businesses manage the cost of their cloud resources across multiple cloud platforms. Stay tuned. Today, I'm glad to welcome Abhi Roy to our virtual studio. Thank you for joining us, Abhi.
Yeah, great to be with you, Steve.
Well, before we dive into cloud cost management, I wonder if you could tell our listeners just what you do here at ServiceNow. What's your role here?
Yeah, so I'm a senior outbound product manager at ServiceNow, and I sit in the asset management business unit, and I specifically cover our product cloud cost management, which is our FinOps tool.
All right. How long have you been here at ServiceNow?
Yeah, I've been here over a year and a half, coming up on my 2-year mark in June. So it's been a really great experience and journey so far.
And how about when you're not at work? What do you like to do?
Yeah, so I live in San Francisco, and one of the things that's really nice about living here, it's so close to nature. It's really easy to go on really picturesque hikes, and that's something that I like to do every week. And on top of that, I've been a musician my whole life. I play the drums, and I really enjoy doing that, whether it's by myself or with other people in bands. Those things keep me busy outside of work.
All right. So let's talk about cloud cost management. I wonder if you could give us all a quick intro to it. What is the field of cloud cost management in general, and how does ServiceNow's cloud cost management product fit into that?
Yeah, see, that's a really great question. The field of cloud cost management is really concerned with the uncertainty and waste that has grown across cloud spend. And this is something where, because cloud costs are variable for companies, they're not a fixed cost. It's caused a lot of uncertainty for companies, which has created problems where they have difficulty forecasting cloud costs. They have low visibility and accounting into these costs. Oftentimes they run over budget. Oftentimes they're unable to really see and have visibility into, okay, am I spending too much on particular assets or am I not spending as much? What are the trends that I'm seeing in spending? What are anomalies that I'm having in spending? And collectively, all of these issues have created a situation where companies are having to pay millions of dollars more than they expected. Startups have almost gone bankrupt because of this. And it's estimated that at least 30% of $180 billion of the nearly $600 billion on cloud spend globally is entirely unnecessary. There's just not a lot of accountability on this. So on the backdrop of this problem, this is where the field of cloud cost management comes into place. And the other term that is very common around this is called FinOps, or financial operations. That's just a way of taking a handle on cloud costs. What are ways in which we go about controlling the spend? So specifically, the first thing is creating accountability, so showing who is spending and how much. And then the second is optimizing assets, so you can do things like resize or remove based on usage. And the third is automating and collaborating. So this is automating as many optimization actions as possible and making it easy to collaborate and keep on audit. So cloud cost management at ServiceNow, we excel at reporting on cloud spend, on assigning cloud spend, as well as alert on spend thresholds. We have really powerful and robust cost optimization features, including identifying cloud waste, correcting inefficiencies. And then really importantly, we have savings automation, which automates savings, it tracks recommendations, and also change control. So with that would really come into this space where ServiceNow has this end-to-end cloud cost management capability that works at multi-cloud. It works with AWS, Azure, as well as GCP. It has a bunch of cost optimization, insights, policy-driven workflows, and the outcomes that customers have gotten from this, including the ability to track their cloud spend, automate their cloud spend, optimize recommendations, as well as forecast spend.
Great intro. Thank you. While you were explaining, a question occurred to me. The kind of concerns that you described here for cloud cost management, it seems like a number of those would apply to other forms of cost management as well. And I'm wondering, what are the particular difficulties with managing cloud costs, the difficulties that this product helps address?
Yeah, so there are a lot of difficulties in terms of managing cloud costs. The one difficulty that customers have is oftentimes they are having difficulties managing multi-cloud workloads and environments. This is something where we really step in and we give visibility into AWS as well as Azure and GCP. And we have a powerful normalization engine where when they go up on our homepage and they have this spending graph that they can view, what they can see is that they can not only see the spending by provider themselves, but they can actually see how much they're spending by cloud assets. So they can see how much they're spending on an overall basis of compute resources, as well as network resources, as well as storage resources. And that's very powerful. And then they can actually go in and click in on those spending graphs. And they can actually do something which is called showback and chargeback, which is where they can take these costs and actually slice and dice them based on various tags like business unit or cost center or geography, and actually go and show individual teams how much they are spending on these cloud resources so that when they can go and hold those teams accountable, they're able to do it in a much accurate way. Building off of that, another challenge that a lot of these companies are facing is that they might understand recommendations that are popping up, but then it's really difficult to actually go about enacting them to make sure that there's an audit trail of these recommendations to understanding what stakeholder has to do what. And that's really where our product shines, in which through we have our change management integration. So happy to talk about that more, but these are just some of the ways where we are addressing some of the biggest problems that customers are facing in this space.
Well, thank you. That's a good addition to the overview. So one of the things I really enjoy about doing these podcasts is learning about the history of our products and the fields that they apply to. And I wonder if you could give us a little background on CCM, both the field itself and the product.
Yeah, absolutely. So Cloud Cost Management at ServiceNow, we have had this product for a while, and it's been a product where we've had rapid customer-centric innovation. So the asset management BU at ServiceNow, we took over the product from ITOM in our Quebec release, which was March 2021. And we've had twice-a-year family releases where we've really focused on making this product a comprehensive end-to-end FinOps solution for our customers. And so some of the things that we've added over these releases is support for multi-cloud. So we've added support for AWS, Azure, as well as GCP. And we have done a lot of innovation specifically on the optimization side. So we have added features around right-sizing resources, around setting business hour policies, so you're not running resources 24/7 and wasting money that way. We have added support for reservation and saving plan. We have added the ability to spin off unused resources. And then on top of this, we have innovated a lot in terms of tag categories, as well as Kubernetes, as well as a lot of shared cost allocation support. And so these are just areas where we have basically taken a pulse on the market, seen what are the latest trends, and then stayed ahead of that curve. And we've been really proud of that particular progress. So with our software asset management product, combine that with cloud cost management, we have access to an executive asset dashboard, which will show that C-level persona, a bird's eye view into total cost of ownership in terms of cloud, in terms of software. We can also integrate that with hardware asset management so they can see what the hardware spend is as well. And then we also have other features like Cloud Cost Simulator, where a customer, they can see what it costs to keep their assets on premise. And then if they were to move to a cloud like Azure or AWS, it can basically show what that cost would look like in the cloud as opposed to keeping it on premise. And it keeps in mind things like bring your own license as well as specific vendor-based discounts. So those are some of the few ways where we really do leverage the power of the ServiceNow platform and integrations, as well as the product innovation itself.
You mentioned keeping up with trends in the industry. I can see how the field of cloud cost management, man, it's a fast evolving field. And I'm just wondering, how do you keep up with the market trends and technology trends? Do you work a lot with customers to do that?
Yes, we work very closely with our customers in the Product Advisory Council, or the PAC. We will work very closely with analysts, for example. And we also just keep a pulse on the market, seeing what is happening in terms of like various industry-based conferences through the FinOps Foundation and other areas. And an example of us doing this is that in our Washington release, we are rolling out Kubernetes spend management or container spend management, as well as shared cost allocation. So we've seen obviously a lot of companies in the cloud space move more towards a Kubernetes environment. And with that, it's really important to make sure that we could have show back and charge back show what individual teams are spending, because a lot of these resources are shared. That can be difficult to do. So that's a very powerful innovation that we were rolling out in Washington, which will solve this pain point for a lot of customers.
So ServiceNow focuses on workflows. How does cloud cost management fit into that workflow perspective?
Yeah. So one powerful integration that cloud cost management has is with change management. And this is really important because for many years, a top problem for FinOps organizations and companies has been the inability for engineers to take action on recommendations, either their inability or their unwillingness to do it.
So, Abhi, let me ask you a quick question just to make sure I understand. You mentioned recommendations a couple times. What are those? Are those things that the recommendations that the product makes?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our product within Cloud Cost Management, and it shows a lot of recommendations that you can do to actually optimize your cloud spend. So it not only has insights into visibility and reporting as well as budgets, but it really does show recommendations on how to get those potential savings in the cloud. And it's a very robust and multifaceted. One of the major recommendations is right-sizing resources. And so it will basically take a look at how much you're spending compared to your usage levels. And then it can say that, hey, maybe we should downsize this particular resource, or maybe we should actually increase this particular resource as well, just based on your usage and your spending trends. And then on top of that, we have a way of setting business hours for different cloud assets so that you're not running a resource 24/7. You could actually set specific on and off hours for that. This is important because this is, again, a very big driver of a wasted cloud spending. Another source of wasted cloud spending is unused assets, where you're just not using cloud asset at all. And our system identifies that and then gives recommendations for shutting down those assets completely. And then the other one is not using committed discounts. And this is where our cloud cost management recommendation comes in, where we make sure that reserved compute and savings plans are being used properly and you're getting the maximum savings out of that possible. These are the very large major recommendations that we have. We have a whole entire module in cloud cost management where you can go. There is a chart where it'll not only show you what these recommendations are, but it'll actually break it down and show this is where this percentage of the recommendation is coming from. So it might say that right sizing accounts for 80% of the total potential savings. So you know where to prioritize your time. And when you click on that, and you go even further, you can say, oh, okay, specifically within right sizing, compute resources are the ones where it's driving maybe 60% of the savings. So this will give a FinOps manager or practitioner the ability to really prioritize and understand the major drivers of spending and potential wasteful spending.
Thank you. Helps me understand what those recommendations are. And I'm sorry, I guess I knocked you off your track there. You were talking about change management in the context of cloud cost management.
Yeah. So with change management, this is when, after you do those recommendations that I mentioned to you just earlier, when you schedule a job, say for right sizing or for setting business hours, after you go ahead and do that, then you can actually go and you can track the life cycle of that job. So say that you create a right sizing job, and we have the ability to actually set that job for auto approval or manual approval. And what we've noticed is that customers who are still earlier on their adoption stage with cloud cost management, they often set it to manual approval, where it routes to individual stakeholders to make comments and approve different workflows. But this is as opposed to auto approval, where through the integrations and the APIs, we can actually go and automatically enact these recommendations like resizing resources or setting business hours. But with the manual approval approach, what it will do is it will create like a change record. It will route it to particular stakeholders. And then the person who made this request, they can essentially track which of these requests have been scheduled, which of them are pending, which of them have been declined, which of them have been excluded, for example. So this really gives them the ability to follow up with particular stakeholders, see what their notes are. If it gets declined, they can go back with that stakeholder, build a better case for that. And this is just a central way of getting that stakeholder buy-in into cloud cost management, and also a way of ensuring that these recommendations make it to the finish line. They just don't stay stuck in this pending stage. They make it to the finish line, and engineers are actually incentivized to take action on these particular recommendations. They're actually enacted.
So all this takes place within cloud cost management. All this change management rigor is provided directly within the application, right?
Yes, that is true.
Abhi, maybe you can tell us a little bit about how companies would integrate cloud cost management into their operations.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that is great about cloud cost management is we have a guided setup page. And this is something when you open up the cloud cost management workspace, on the left-hand side, we have our navigation bar. You can click on this page, will bring you to our guided setup admin page. And with that, we have a very step-by-step handheld version of guided setup where it'll actually show you which integrations and plugins need to be enacted. And then when you actually go and integrate through these providers, it will actually just, again, it'll link you to knowledge-based articles that have a checklist format where you can make sure that these integrations are happening successfully and intuitively. So you have that aspect of it as well. And the other aspect is we have a product overview page on the guided setup page where you can really take a look at knowledge articles, on videos, on best practices around cloud cost management. And then we have a section where it actually shows a lot of better together capabilities where, as I mentioned before, with software asset management and hardware asset management, there's a link to the asset executive dashboard, which is where you get that bird's eye executive level overview over a cloud spend, over software spend, over hardware spend. We have a link to the cloud cost simulator, which shows, again, like if you have workloads on premise, and if you were to move them to the cloud, what the cost would be for each. And so you could understand what the savings would be once you move more these on-premise assets to the cloud that way. And it takes into account things like bring your own license, as well as vendor-based recommendations and discounts that way. And also there are a lot of powerful synergies and workflows within IT operations management or ITOM products, things like cloud visibility, as well as cloud accelerate and governance, as well as tagging. And so these are areas where cloud cost management really builds on the powerful workflows of the ServiceNow platform as a whole. It sits on the same unified architecture, the one data model. And because of this, it's both powerful as an isolated cloud cost management FinOps tool, but with ServiceNow, it's even better with, again, all of these synergies and integrations.
Before we wrap up here, is there anything else you'd like to mention for our listeners?
Yeah, so if you're interested in learning more about cloud cost management, you can go to the ServiceNow website. We have a community page where we have a welcome guide and we have a forum post on questions that people have about cloud cost management and best practices. We also have a comprehensive repository of product documentation on our doc site, where it will show things on how to get started with cloud cost management, how to get value out of it, how to integrate it, and etc. So we do have a lot of resources for people who are interested in learning more.
All right. Thank you very much, Abhi. It's great to have you join us today. For me, it's been a great introduction to cloud cost management, and hopefully for our listeners too.
Yeah, it was a great session, and glad that you enjoyed it, and hope our audience did as well.
Please tell us what you think of this podcast. You can leave feedback or ask questions in the ServiceNow community. For more information on any ServiceNow topic, take a look at our product documentation or knowledge base or our ServiceNow support YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.